Here we are, punters, back at the RANT. Episode 3 or 4, what is it?
I don't know, Racing Rant Park, and cracker of a day. It was a cracker of a meeting on Saturday. Mounting Yard Mail went solidly. I thought you backed a few winners.
Backed a few winners. A couple of horses are hard to find from Mounting Yard Mail. I mean, obviously Timmy's horse, it always parades well, but you find Claire on it, you know, you got to, you know, she's done a really good job on it, so good luck to her. And hard to find the other one. What was the other? I think they're thinking of friggin' Firth. You are golden. Very annoying.
Well,
most of the other winners are sort of thereabouts, and oh no, I was hard against Quattronic as well. I didn't really like the way it paraded. Bowman got away with murder there, didn't he?
An Atlantic Sentinel ran a winning race. I think you had it in your numbers, didn't you?
Yeah, second. It was worth 8.7 million.
So the track played benignly. Didn't really want to be in the 3 wide line, I thought.
Yeah.
You know, it was okay in the straight, but I'm saying you didn't want to be sitting in the 3 wide line in the run.
Yep.
Soft runs were sort of
rewarded.
Okay.
Rewarded.
Yeah.
They were rewarded.
Lots of the horses that were in the finish sort of sat in the rails in the run, but you didn't have to.
Yeah.
It was a good solid race or track. The track conditions seemed reasonable, and obviously the highlight of the day was the winner of the main race, who was fucking awesome.
Mcquery.
Well, he was great, but
What do you mean?
Stern.
Oh, Stern was awesome. So was Mcquery. Stern was absolutely awesome and really dominant. The 3-year-old that can really, Rick hasn't been able to keep him going long into their preparation, but gee, can this horse win a Cox Plate even?
My God, he was just dazzling. You just don't see that in those situations where he had to go back, and so he went back, and obviously he rode him nice and quietly, but just the turn of foot in the straight was astonishing.
Astonishing. He's the best 3-year-old in the country, and I reckon he's in the top 3 or 4 racehorses in Australia.
So Gordo's in black here as a mark of mourning for the fact that he turned something yesterday.
You haven't said anything yet, Gordo. Say something, one word.
Yeah, I'm struggling. I'm trying to warm into it.
Dusty's the word.
I should have had a hair of the dog, I reckon, but anyway.
Dusty.
I'll give it a crack and do my best.
You can only ever do your best.
So back on Mcquery, which I think is a seminal race. I almost want to back anything that ran in that race. It just looked such an honestly run race. It looks potent, the margins are big. And I would suggest that you could back anything bar Allergic, Loophole and Song and Laughter out of that race at their next start.
Gee, someone's got to tap him on the shoulder, this Flindell. When he talks about the Magic Man at the 300 metres and look at this and gets so excited like that and over the top, God, just call the race, mate. Call the race. Don't talk about the Magic Man. The Magic Man has been putrid in Sydney for 6 months. And he rode a couple of great races on the weekend, and full credit to him, he rode those horses well. But punters have really, Joe Marura hasn't been everything he's made out to be in Sydney. I know he does really well overseas, we all know that. And obviously Flindell comes from Hong Kong, so to him he's the Magic Man. But just call the race, Darren. Like, a lot of people win and lose in the race, a lot of people have backed this and that, and there's the Magic Man looking underneath his...
You know why I think he actually got a couple of winners? Because you didn't give him the serve from the mounting.
I didn't get a chance to get the serve.
You let him stay on his game.
Yeah, I just missed him a couple of times, and then I was busy too. I usually give the Magic Man a good bake, and I always feel better for it. And there's Darren Flindell, like, I don't know, painting a picture that wasn't there to be painted. Quite annoying.
I have to agree with you. And Gord made a good comment after that race saying, there's Magic Man looking around, but he's looking the wrong way.
You notice that? He eased up and he was looking like this to the outside, and the only thing that was close to him was Sir John Hawkwood on the inside.
And Mcquery not only went from a full-blown gallop into like a 3/4 canter, it almost pulled up.
Yeah.
That would have been the highlight of my racing career.
I would have loved to
like
see
I
him
could
go
have
down.
I would have just said that'll do me. I can now go back to Woolworths. Well, not go back to. I can go to Woolworths because that would just be the highlight of the Magic Man getting a year's suspension for letting the horse walk to the line. That would have been outstanding.
They keep asking Racing Rant to follow Woolworths after you started spruiking about Woolworths. It keeps popping up going, do you want to follow Woolworths?
People love the thought of me stacking shelves.
So He's Your Man won that race a couple of years ago and went on to win the Epsom.
Yes.
Mcquery. Epsom?
It's adaptable type, and it had showed a good turn of foot. I mean, back in distance for an Epsom, why not? Yeah, why not? Why not? And what good milers do we have around at the moment, bar the obvious one, which is Happy Clapper? You know, like, why not?
So the other mile path is the Theo Marks, where we saw McIntosh come back in with a spring in his step, as perhaps was suggested by his trials.
That trolley came third into Japanese me and
Troll
English.
well. It was on the inside
I
that
think
day
it was
too.
the best of the. It was better than the two that actually finished in front of it. So if you're a keen trial watcher, you could definitely have found it. And it was a bit icky about the other horses. There were question marks about Southern Legend, Tycoon Tara. We could have more easily found it, I think. A bit stronger.
And the ring certainly warmed to it, didn't it?
Late.
$16 to $9.50. The surprise pack of the race was Old North being so hard in the market at $10. Great horse. Finished second last, but it did stink of barrier trial time, didn't it, for that horse?
Mm.
You know, this is the first run in a long preparation. Send it round, look after it.
They did that a few weeks ago with that Allegria. Remember how well tried she was in a similarly unsuitable sort of barrier trialish race?
It was a really well tried at $10 Old North. I mean, I priced it 25s in the morning and thought, gee, I've stamped this horse really well. And you know, looking back at the race, Counterattack should have absolutely bolted in. How there's not more from the stewards there inquiring into the tactics or the ride by Mr. Bowman, I'll never know. They did mention he was held up, but I think more questions need to be asked there. I think a lot of options were not taken, and people that backed it, I know a lot of the forums are particularly unhappy about Counterattack, and I don't see why they wouldn't be. The horse looked like it should have won by a couple of lengths. Southern Legend, I think, went terrific on the inside, but 1,000 to 1,300, as said by us, really found this horse out. Tycoon Tara,
She's racing really well. Yeah. She's like racing super.
I mean, Rebel Dane, you just like, it's all light for a few of those.
That's finished, isn't it?
Life.
Never again, Rebel Dane.
Yeah, don't sack Southern Legend. I think next
No.
But I mean, what's the plan with Southern Legend? What's his aim?
Don't know. Is it 1,400 or 1,200? And what race is it? It was particularly poorly paced on the weekend.
Yes. And
now, whether that was the only option, if I trained that horse, I would have kept it more fresh, maybe barrier trialled it and wait for another couple of weeks for a race that can win. Sort of burned a bit of gas getting beaten in that race.
Maybe.
Counterattack was the story of the race, and Counterattack, when you look at the stewards' reports the next day and they mentioned it was held up or slightly inconvenienced or whatever, I don't think that was good enough commentary from the stewards.
Look, I don't know what he was doing, because I sort of accepted early in the straight that he wanted to ride it quietly and not not expose the horse. But at the same time, if you want to save a horse up, you don't actually put it on the heels of a horse in front, so that you, when you finally decide that you have to come around the other horses, you have to go all the way back and then around.
Should have bolted.
He just really gave himself no hope there.
I think it's another example of when you're the big guys in the sport, you get preferential treatment. You know what I mean? Your Wallers, your Bowmans. Questions aren't asked as often against those big guys.
You're saying if young Serge Lisney rode, he would have been straight in there?
Yeah.
Around the ears?
He gets time.
Yeah, fair comment, yeah. Even though Serge Lisney wouldn't ride that sort of horse, but I know what you mean. You're saying not the number one.
Yeah.
Number one trainer, number one rider. Small free pass?
Free pass for sure. There's plenty of examples of it.
Maybe you're right. Anyway, I thought the stewards could have done a little bit better there for the punters. Anyway, because the punters were spewing.
Yeah, although it was very pooey on the fair late too, wasn't it? Counterattack, and Grant Palmer got to 440. It was just like, what was it on the fair late? 480 or something?
Something like that.
Very soft.
Fair.
Yes.
Find your way home with the fair punters. If you want the lotto numbers for next week, log into Betfair. It'll spit them out somehow.
So the mare's race was one of the other features on the day, and I suppose it was just a race. I mean, Ravi was quite well found. I thought she found herself in a position that wasn't that favourable to her. She was sort of up on the speed and trying to fend them off. She might be better ridden a bit colder, quieter.
Look, she came back with a lot of condition on her. It was a terrific run. And whether it was a little bit of a gut buster with the condition she was going on, I think. But I'll be looking at Ravi to win races this time in. It's particularly third up.
And Timmy's horse, Timmy trying to double.
Yeah, good on Timmy's a good trainer.
Heavens Above is one of those horses that I think can be more devastating at the sprint course. You know, we've seen her go up to 9. She ran in an Oaks.
Is she an Epsom horse?
I guess so. She's got a neat little turn of foot. That's what she's
I'd
got.
agree with
She was ridden by Winona for far too long.
Yeah.
See, after the race, that was kind of findable too, wasn't it? I mean, she was the only horse with like really proper Group 1 form.
She went really well.
You know?
And she's strong and she's a line chaser.
Last prep, second to Ascadelia.
She's a line chaser.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess
She's
the
a
thought
solid
was
horse.
that 1200 was a bit nippy for her, especially
Coming back.
She's coming back. It was not going to be a very fast run race because there was only one leader engaged.
Magna Joy.
And she was sort of drawn a bit too close to the inside to. You felt like she would be looking for a run, which she was.
Yeah. There was plenty of failures in that race when you look at it now. Like Nancy's failed.
But Nancy
Hallucinari's
wasn't really
failed.
wanted. Nancy, like the assessors knew
But she
about
was still
Nancy from the
$9.
get-go.
She's 11% of the market. Hallucinari's failed. Pearls has failed. Dixie Blossoms, Ronnie, one of the best shampooers of horse I've ever seen, has failed. And Savaro, who I was surprised how short it was, has run last. Like, there's plenty of failures in the race.
But I'd suggest it was because it was just like it was a clumpy, not truly run race, and it was. I would suggest that you just take the SPs from that race.
Okay. I would suggest going forward that I want to be all over Ravi. Third up on. Third up on, this time in, unbeaten. It'll be unbeaten. Does it go to the Epsom?
No, there's just way too many mares races around.
Yeah,
you know,
yes.
you just if you got a mare, you just like,
Yep.
there's just constantly there's a bloody Group 3-2 race on every week for mares.
Okay.
So I mean, you know you get foolish fields because everyone with a mare is just hanging in for one of those. Going back to the first race, I don't think we ever need to speak about these horses ever again.
Let's
not
just not talk about it.
Yeah, forget about it.
Race 2.
Just quickly about race 1. The old Gord factor. You're up from Melbourne. You're in the market. Just pen.
Yeah,
Gord gold.
Yeah.
Never looked like winning Lonkeys. Good night. I didn't think.
No. I mean,
It was hard in the market at 360.
Yeah. But you could argue it was a touch unlucky, but
But they get beat.
yeah, they get.
And that's what I'm saying. They get beat with Gordo
I
gold.
wish I'd listened to my pearls a little bit more often.
I never listen to anything I do.
It is a great education to actually be reminded of what you have said because there's so much good stuff in what you do say from time to time, and then you go and do the form and you try and avoid.
No, you're trying to out-trick yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
The whole of life, the whole of eternity is about trying to destroy yourself.
Delude yourself, basically.
Of course.
Denial.
Absolutely. Everything you do is wrong. Religions are based on how much you sin. Everything's about you're a bad person. I just accept the fact. Heading to Woolworths.
Race 2. Well, I just went back and looked at 4 Carat and I didn't realise how well he had trialled.
He trialled enormous mark. My morning price, I put 10s next to it. Whilst I didn't have it in my numbers with my Manning it would have been my 5th pick. I cheered Antonio Giuseppe. Come on, Antonio. And of course, forgot the fact I had 12,200 4 Carat. It was $9,000 better for me. And couldn't talk after the race.
So you were cheering racing RANT and not cheering Glenn Pollard.
Like, fucking how didn't 4 Carat win? And how good did it trial?
Yeah, I completely overlooked it.
How
I
was
just
it
went,
60s?
well, because it was only a barrier trial, 1800.
Look, I mean, we all backed Antonio. Well, obviously the result was better with 4 Carat. I was obviously happy that Antonio Giuseppe got up for my one distance bet every 6 months. But 4 Carat was foundable yet again, 2,000 metre trials.
But the most recently,
Shows
the
intent.
fast trial in the finish, and I'm absolutely ropeable about
short
not.
spell, 2,000 metre trials.
Yeah.
2 1,000 metre trials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lanciato went all right off a break there. He wasn't wanted in the market. Very
I can
pooey.
feel Mark Newman's stress here. He's looking for gas, Mark. Just trying to find that first winner.
Yeah.
He's had
Yeah,
15
but I mean
goes now.
that horse has run well.
The horses are paraded well. He's doing a really good job. But unfortunately, whether the hate for himself is stopping him getting him in the right race, or you know what it's like.
It's a tricky business.
It's
And
very tricky.
Salthouse halved its price. Like it was the one that was well tried in the race and went particularly poorly. I thought.
It doesn't seem to have a sprint, this horse.
It was back because of just the fact that it was a question mark, wasn't it? You know what I mean? It might have had
Well, we
ability.
need to find something to back against Antonio Giuseppe because there's Antonio Giuseppe. He's evens, right? We accept that.
Yeah.
What are we going to do with the other 50% of the market? We're going to find the winner out of that other 50%. Does that make
Because
sense?
we're delusional. That's exactly right. Instead of just going, this is complete moral, this will win.
We did do that.
I know that, but we're still talking about the market.
No,
I'm
but
talking
okay.
as all of us, a group
Yeah.
of people.
Yeah.
But there's the pro Antonios and there has to be the anti Antonios, whether they be bookies or whatever. They're layers, right? You need backers and layers,
We need backers and lights.
right? So the layers have gone. Well, there's Antonio Giuseppe. We're content to go and look to find something else. What's the alternative? and they made the alternative Salthouse, and I think it, given the strength of confidence behind it in the ring, it really should have done better.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't super dominant. That's fair. It did the job.
I'm fine with it because I'm saying they're doing it on suspicion.
Yeah.
So they think this thing could come last, but they think it could win as well. They're not sort of expecting a solid, decent run every start. It's just a complete sort of throw at the stumps because of the value maybe that was created by the short price about Antonio Giuseppe.
Also, okay, throw at the stumps.
Yeah.
But the fact is, next time you look at that horse's form, you're going to go, "Wow, it was well backed yesterday." They must be thinking that this horse is about right to come, about to come right.
But that's what we talk about these pearls. Sometimes they don't work. So when you look at the SP on that one, you can ignore the SP.
Right, that's a good suggestion.
But also, when we're talking about backers and layers, and you brought that up, a lot of people are laying because they want to back.
Yeah.
A lot of people are just saying, well, this is this part of the market. Now I'm going to sell a bit here because I can back it back here, and they're trying to find a price to buy and sell, whether they get it right or get it wrong. There's a gamble in that. I mean, if you give $2.10, you can back it back at $2.20, you gamble well. If you give $2.10 and you got to back it back at $2, you gamble poorly. So there's also that volume of people out there in the marketplace.
Trace.
Yeah, putting all the ingredients in the oven and hoping to cook it for the right amount of time.
That's right. If you laid the evens and back to back at 240 on a fair, you're doing well. It's a great result.
It's outstanding business. It's outstanding business when you think about it. Especially you get 1,000 at $2 and 1,000 back at 240. You got it going for $400 for nothing. People work. I mean, I don't understand how they do it, but people work for $800 a week, and they don't ever see. And even if they earn $800 or $900 a week, they don't have $40 to spend. So how much money is $400?
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money because even if you're in at $900, you got $300 in rent, you got a dirty, filthy missus spending money, you got rotten kids with snot hanging out their nose that have got to get new football boots. Your life is fucking tough. So if you can get $400 to nothing, it's a fucking fortune. Next thing you can go to the pub with your mates, buy them a beer. You can have $200 on the footy. You can fucking stand around like a big dick. And if you do your $400, yeah, you understand what I mean.
You don't eat.
Well, what a game it is.
Yeah.
It's a great observation, though.
Well, it's a lot of money. People forget about it. And that's $400 to nothing. So it's a great trade. Because like I said, out of $900 a week, your missus isn't giving you $50. Because it's not there. It's $100 for petrol. It's fucking old mate, do this. She screams if you clean the gutters and you go, can't I get someone? No, we can't afford it. You have to do it. Fucking life. It's tough business. Mathematically.
And then we got on to the Gordo 2-horse race, which was unfortunately won by Moral Victory. What do we say about the favourite there? Sabacus.
Missed the start, got on the wrong part of the track, couldn't wind up, second up with that weight, even though I'm not mad on weight, so I just don't think he wound up. I thought he went particularly well. If you backed him, you're spewing.
Yeah, it was sort of a flat run, wasn't it?
But everything, it doesn't surprise me.
I'm throwing a question mark on him for the whole preparation. You got to send the first win I didn't like between the 400 and the 200, and then I saw that yesterday, so I doubt I'll be finding him next start. I don't think he's come back as well as people might think.
Okay.
Anyway, that's your opinion. So.
Yeah. And Bull Rush met defeat for the first time. What do we say about him?
Thought ridden particularly poorly.
Could he have done anything else? There's every chance that Cape Crusader was going to try and grab the lead.
Our man Ads Hieronymus, he loves the lead, Ads.
I won't be finding Bull Rush again either because, let's face it, its wins have never been franked against any other decent horses.
Yeah, they're a bit hollow.
Maybe he's just not as good as we thought he was. Yeah.
He found his level.
Yeah.
And
the bottom line for me is I marked Moral Victory 50s in the morning, and I said to myself I would have this horse 14s if there was any other rider on it, and I penalised her so severely. I didn't think she'd do the job. She did the job. Bottom line for me, learning, I'm not going to do that again with poor riders. Not poor riders, but less inexperienced riders, because the marketplace moves out to that price range, and you're kind of entitled to have something on it.
Well, surely, if you're saying I marked this 14s with any other riders, you're allowed to mark it 20s with them, aren't you?
I marked 50s. How tough was I on it?
Surely the riders can't represent that much of the...
And I got to say, that's where I found a flaw in my game for sure. I'm too hard.
I'm saying be particularly hard on poor jockeys if they're solid in the market. If they're long shots,
it's not that she's a
poor
jockey.
Yeah.
It's not that she's a poor jockey.
14s for me is still 14s because I don't care over that $10 mark what jockey's on.
I mucked it up there. I don't think she's a poor jockey, but she's just it just seemed a big job for a little kid.
She just settled midfield there in behind them and produced the horse, and the horse did the rest. It was it's a particularly low race, I should say. They're one of the worst races on the day times-wise.
Right.
Because the favourite fell over and the second favourite couldn't win with that run. So, and then there were a number of first-uppers in the race. Unequivocal was a horse we mentioned. What
It looks like the stable came back in particularly good order. Maybe they're just horses that find their race when they're their absolute perfect fitness, you know. I don't know what to say about the race. I mean, there she was, riding down the outside, long, sustained run. Looked like she was in Pony Club. It's 3 years ago to the day since she rode her first winner at Rosehill, which was a
footy fan. It won that mare's race on this day.
Really.
3 years to the day, and while she seems a lovely young lady and a nice, and I think she'll make a living, I haven't seen her improve so much in 3 years.
Yeah.
You know, you look at Jess Taylor now. Jess couldn't go, and they're gone. And Rachel Murray's another example. Couldn't go. Really took off. I haven't noticed that in Claire, but maybe this is a turning point for her.
I mean, it was a sit and steer job, but she did look reasonably balanced.
She did, I know. It does my fucking head in. I'm not gambling anymore, that's it.
So, the highway race, is there anything to say about it?
Oh,
it's just a...
PR in front, another filthy leader on a highway race, just happened to be the 64 chance. I'm all over Atlantic Sentinel, I've got stacks of money today for lobs.
I don't know. Hugh Bowman was quoted as saying that he thinks it's a Saturday Metropolitan grade horse.
Well, funnily, the times weren't as bad as the usual highway times are. So...
Maybe.
you're a bit stiff there with the Atlantic Sentinel twice.
Mark, I'm always a bit stiff, except in the bed.
And then the stiff one was very stiffly backed in the last. Invincible and produced, and
Another one that trialled sensational.
See, it's one of those things. You just have to forget how sick of horses you are. Sometimes, when the time is right.
The surprise bracket in the race is Kanachi running third. It's flying, Kanachi.
And another particularly poor race as far as times go. It's like that's a winter race, though all those horses have come to the end. Bar, I'd say Balmain Boy was given no chance at all.
Yeah. But from the parade, it went really well. Yeah, so stack of conditions.
You can just overlook the fact that Balmain Boy ran against those nuffies. But I think those horses will be hard to place in the next month.
Look, I found Invincible on top, even though it's...
Invincible.
The 20 starts for 2 wins, normally that's a pen job for me, but that trial was just absolutely awesome. And it had a 900 metre trial and an 1175 metre trial. Primed, ready to go.
So that's 3...
Flew in its second trial against Honesty Prevails. It was the best trialer in that particular race. And the shame of it was I was so keen to wait for what Glenn said in the Mounting Yard Mail, and as soon as he found it and told me it looked good, I was so excited to back it. I went running back into the ring, and it had 750 into 480, and I'd already missed the prize.
And that's the cruelty of the Mounting Yard Mail. We've got to be out there for 3 minutes, watch him do a couple of laps, and then it's at 11 minutes, the 8 minute period. It's a tricky time for the marketplace.
It's so important, that time frame, isn't it?
It's very... Almost you could even be mic'd up, couldn't you, in a way?
Yeah. Have some guy standing in there.
And be mic'd up, get on.
So that's three Waller winners. Oh, 3 Waller horses. Sorry, 4 Carat didn't win, but that have come off particularly good trials and notable trials to run really well.
Yeah, notable trials.
And
overall, a good card.
I just don't think we've spent enough time on the main race, which we've spoken about Stern, right?
Okay.
But there are a lot of other good horses in that race.
Yes.
That need some attention.
All right, where are we going to start? Second horse?
No, maybe Divine Prophet, who ended up back in the middle last, like in a line of 3.
Yep.
Running last. That was a particularly difficult position for Edge.
And it went particularly well. Will it ever beat a Stern? I doubt it.
No, that's right. And the stablemate of his Stern, Impending, who...
I think Impending's a suck.
Does it seem like it's once 2,000 metres?
What is it though?
It doesn't.
Won't it turn up in the Stan Fox in 2 weeks' time, and it'll be the 4 to 5 shot. The Stan Fox is always that hollow race where
because they're going to go down south. Yeah, I suppose it does.
I want Impending over distance.
And the filly, Ome Sword. What do we say about her?
Well,
top horse.
Top horse got buried in the ruck, back on the inside, Hong Kong.
Magic Man.
I don't know why I don't like him so much as Magic Man. I hate him.
Well,
I'm not allowed to bag.
He's got a reputation that he hasn't really lived up to.
I don't know what it is about him. And then when Flindell went on about him like that, I just wanted to... I would have chinned Flindell if he was next to me. Just shut up. Call the race.
What about good standing?
Great
Someone
run,
sort of- yeah.
great run. That was a like it had the blinkers on, raced OSL. It's ready to go.
It's always been a nice horse. I was tipping it hot and strong as a young horse.
Yeah.
It's a nice horse, a strong horse too.
I think that's one that can
But
find
where
a
things
race.
like El Divino, where they go with it, I don't know. Mediterranean to give itself up as like a Wednesday winner.
Yep.
But they've run in a particularly dense race. You know, they've run in a seminal race, a race that if they go down a cock, they're gonna be particularly well placed.
Yeah, possibly. And throwing them, I suppose, will go for a spell now.
Particularly those ones in the vanguard in the run. They're the ones you want. Yeah. So particularly good standing.
Yes,
Goes back
yes,
great.
although
It's
yes.
gonna be a bet for sure.
And Yankee Rose, what do we say about her?
Well, shit. I don't know. What do you say about a horse that they continually put first up into Group 1 races, and she's got a couple of ticks on the board, and I want to be against her from now till ever. In fact, that's the price you have many more starts.
She doesn't need to, does she? She won the size.
I'll tell you what, it's an
Night,
amazing
Night, night.
FP. Yankee Rose, $5. Like,
Yeah, that's after the race, though.
I'm saying before the race.
I say before the race.
couldn't see.
I couldn't see one.
And I guess she was sort of actually pulling on Oh My Sword, wasn't she? I mean, Astern started the shortest price of the Golden Slipper runners in the Golden Rose.
Right, that's held up.
I mean, sorry, he was of the slipper runners. Astern was the short priced Golden Slipper runner,
Yeah.
raced OSL in the Golden Slipper,
Yeah.
and has put paid to his victor on that day, Yankee
Yeah,
Rose.
it's good.
It's a particularly good horse.
That's the end of part one. We'll be back in part two with
Emails,
and
talkies.
a bit more frivolity.
So,